Welcome into Dealing with the Devils. It's Jack and JD, and the Blue Devils just took a hard loss here in MSG, 81-77 to St. John's, and they really, after a hot start where they scored 9 points in the first 2 minutes, they really floundered down the stretch and struggled to really get any offensive flow.
No question about it, Jack. I mean, they gave up 49 points in the second half, and we're going to have a lot to say about them as a team. But take us away on the starting five.
Right, and so you look at the starting five today, and you had great performances from Wendell Carter Jr. and Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent continues to shoot the ball from three with a hot hand. He had 22 points. He hit 5 3-pointers and hit the first 2 threes of the game. And this was a game where both JD and I thought they would come out flat. So actually, in the first couple of minutes, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought they were playing really well. They looked like they were ready just at the start of the game. Marvin Bagley hit a big three as well. But really they lost their flow after that. And also Wendell Carter with a huge game, 14 points, 15 rebounds, 4 blocks. But also 8 of 8 from the free throw line, a JD specialty there. And he definitely hit his free throws today. But as a team, 20 of 29, not great from the line. But really after that first 4-minute stretch is, we've done previously where we break down the game by 4-minute stretches here, or sections. After that mark, they really couldn't get any momentum, any rhythm on the offensive end in the court.
There has been almost no rhythm all year, and this is definitely going to take us into a discussion about the era of the one and dones, and can you create a flow on a team when you bring in all these McDonald's All-Americans, the best players, when they know they're there for 1 year, and can you automatically inject the teamwork, hunger, and desire that you see on a lot of the teams that they're playing against? The St. John's team today was simply hungrier. They run after the balls. I can't imagine. I wish there was a way to figure out exactly how many of their offensive rebounds were done where they just were following up on stuff and diving and the offensive boards were even on paper, but it sure didn't look that way in terms of following up loose balls.
Right, and their star Shamorie Ponds, he had 33 points tonight, but to JD's point, he's a 6-foot point guard and he had 3 offensive rebounds on his own, including a big one on a missed free throw, which is just inexcusable for a Blue Devils team that has as much size as they have. And for as great as they are at hitting the offensive glass, they've shown a weakness where they give up far too many offensive rebounds in the past couple of games. A guy we haven't discussed yet, and for good reason, is Grayson Allen, because again he was nowhere to be found in this one. And it's tough because what was it, 10 minutes into the game I was asking you, JD, if he was even playing, because it seems like he's tried to make himself fit in so much that he's taken away from what he does best.
There's no question about it, and I think that they my remark to you about midway through the second half was that his line was going to look slightly better than his haircut. And, when you look at it, he was 1 for 7. I don't know which is worse, that he hit 1 basket or he only took 7 shots. As a team, though, this statistic, I cannot remember a Duke team doing this consistently. 18 turnovers. 18 turnovers. I mean, and especially and then clutchness, free throws. Jack, I think this is the preview of why we may bow out of March Madness early. There are all these things of there's no flow, the number of turnovers, lack clutch free throws. Trey Duval right there at the end. He had 2 free throws. Could have easily turned the game around right there. And I was thinking back to Tyus Jones and Quinn Cook, where if they had gone to the line, same situation, I wouldn't even have hesitated thinking that we would have gotten those two. Trey Duval wasn't even close.
Yeah, and it's tough for Trey because after playing so poorly throughout the first 32 minutes of the game, he played great the last 7 minutes, or I guess not quite the full last 7 to 8 minutes there until he missed those 2 free throws at the end there. But he put them in position to where they were close after he hit that nice corner 3. He really got himself into a good rhythm. He was taking guys off the dribble. Bagley was setting high pick and roll screens, and he was just he was using his speed really well. And I thought, when Duval is able to get into a place where he doesn't think and he's just able to go off instinct, get towards the basket and go, he plays so much better than when they slow it down, they run a play, they have a set sequence, and he has to think of where does the ball go next, who do I need to get it to. And I think, that's the next part of his development as a player. But I don't think that's going to happen necessarily at Duke. And so for the Blue Devils, they got to get him in more situations where he can get out and run, because he's going to be so essential to this team. As we've seen, only go as far as the 5 guys who start the game can take them. And if 2 of them consistently have not been playing well in Grayson Allen and Duval the past couple of games, it's going to be really tough for 3 guys to win a game by themselves.
Well, and when it's Grayson and Duval, and you really don't have a guard that you're confident, Alex O'Connell is gone.
And Goldwire hasn't even appeared.
I mean, there's no one they're bringing in to help out of the backcourt, and if Trey Duval is going to not be the point guard distributor, and then Grayson Allen isn't going to be asking or getting the ball, there really is no flow at all to this offense. It's like, I'll even say that Gary Trent, who did have a good game, most of those were like, step back, 3-pointers. They were his shots. They weren't created shots.
Right. Yeah, Gary Trent, he has a very advanced repertoire for a freshman in terms of his ability to get his shot off of 1 or 2 dribbles. And you saw definitely a lot of that tonight. But again, back to the beginning part of the game, he was getting a couple of shots where they were set up, albeit one was off a missed Duval 3, which is one of the best times they look for their own shot. But to your point on Grayson Allen only shooting it 7 times, it's also a problem when Wendell Carter only gets 6 shots in a game. I know he got to the line 8 times, but he's your second best scorer or your third best scorer, depending on how Gary's going on that given night. And he needs to get more shots, in my opinion. He needs to be a little more assertive if that's even really an option for him. But they don't run a ton of offense for Wendell Carter. He gets most of his shots off of missed baskets or dump off passes underneath when the guy who's driving it in just dumps it off and he's open near the basket.
Well, and I think it's time that we actually have to talk about Coach K here, because we know that the only time that he is into the game is when that jacket comes off. And that means that he doesn't like what he's seeing. He's going to be more involved in deciding what the play calling is. And if that's the case today, he didn't do a very good job coaching today.
Right. There was that stretch after Bagley got his 4th foul where they really didn't have anything going on offense for a while until that Duval corner 3. But this was a tough loss for the Blue Devils at St. John's. I do think Bolden played one of his best games as a Blue Devil. He looked great today, and I don't say that lightly. He had 4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocked shots, but his foot quickness is remarkable for a man of his size. And if he's able to play like that and contribute, he's going to become even more of a difference maker as we work our way through towards the end of the season here. But JD, it's important that we look ahead here, and we have a big one coming up, and the Blue Devils are going to have to get their act together because they have the big North Carolina game coming up this Thursday in North Carolina, or at North Carolina, I should say. And, this isn't a great North Carolina team, but you best believe they're going to be ready for this game.
Look, that is absolutely one of the most bizarre set of statistics, the history of the Duke-UNC rivalry, where it's like almost exactly even over 20 or 30 years with
longer than that
scored. It's an incredible statistic, which means both teams always get up for this game, and it's at North Carolina. And the Duke team, when it was interesting in the beginning of the season, we saw things like when they were down, they were able to rally and come back. I'm a little concerned with what I'm seeing here. This is exactly how you see really high-ranked teams exit tournaments early.
Yeah, and one thing, in terms of the actual game itself, I'm going to be looking for is the Duke bigs, Carter and Bagley, have to be aware of Luke May at all times, because I am sure there's going to be a couple of times in this game where there's going to be an offensive rebound, the deflection, they're going to lose track of Luke May, and he's going to hit a big three-pointer for the Tar Heels.
And the other thing I will say is, if you look at the way that the St. John's guard, Pons, went off for 33 points.
Right.
This has got Joel Berry tattooing Duke to 30 all over it.
Yeah, that's another great point, JD. And with that, that's dealing with the Devils, and we look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday after hopefully a big Blue Devil win.